I ended up living in a hacker house for the summer with 15 other people. I was in a bunk bed with 3 bunk beds, so 6 people total in the same room, all sharing one bathroom.
Craziest thing that you saw during your hacker house days?
The craziest thing that almost happened to me is I almost got my head kicked off at like the Facebook or Meta intern carnival.
Hey nerds, how's it going? Today we have on a guest that's super exciting. He's a TED keynote speaker. That's cool. An award-winning author. Didn't know this until 5 minutes ago. Amazing. And he was named USA Today's Most Connected Millennial. That's cool. So Jared Kleinert, say hello.
Hello.
Hello. So you're an award-winning author. How did I not know this until 4 minutes ago? Please share.
This is from a past life. You know, we have 2 lives already. There's a pre-COVID life and a post-COVID life. Pre-COVID, I worked at a startup in my teens. I've been an entrepreneur since 15. So was in the startup world, then took a 7-year speaker, author, consultant turn to my career. And so that's where I wrote some books. My first book, I was fortunate to work with a traditional publisher, and I don't actually love traditional publishers. I got a lot of juicy takes on that. Not that travel nerds care about traditional publishers, but they had a media arm. That was one of the positives. And so they submitted our book for various awards, and we won one of them. So I am now an award-winning author for the rest of my life. And that is the story.
Cool is that?
Yeah.
How hard is it to write a book? Because obviously everybody has thought it. Everybody has thought it. I'm going to sit outside on my back patio and finish a book. I feel like I could start it, get 3/4 of the way there, and we couldn't close. What's like the process of that like?
Yeah. So it's like how hard is it to plan a meeting? Like a meeting could be organizing 3 or 4 friends at a coffee shop. That's pretty easy. A meeting could be running a multi-thousand person conference like IMEX where we last hung out. That's really hard. And then there's like conferences and other stuff in the middle. So if we're talking about like writing an actual book that's like would be worthy of a traditional publisher, that sucks. I hate it. I've done it 3 times. I'll probably do it like 7 or 8 more times, but it's terrible. It's like getting a Horcrux created in Harry Potter. Just like a small part of you dies and goes into the book.
Harry Potter references are welcomed on Travel Nerds for sure.
We got to figure out how to get people to travel by broomstick. Like it's 2023.
That's our next business.
Almost 2024. So, yeah, I mean, books are hard. For some reason, when I was younger, I had some romanticism around writing books and still do.
I still do.
Yeah. I think as a reader, books are cool because you get 5, 10, 20 years of someone's subject matter expertise in 150, 200 pages for $10 to $20. Maybe they're even cool enough to do an audiobook, and you can like hear them, which is really awesome.
Question, I'm pausing you there. Yeah. Do you think it's the same thing? I had an argument about this the other day. Is listening to an audiobook being a reader? No.
Yes.
What? No. Kenny, what do you think?
I'm taking the no, because what's the difference between like listening to an audiobook and like a well orchestrated podcast? It's so passive. I feel like there's such different experiences.
Well, if you're writing a book, you're putting 1 year to 2 years of your life into creating an artifact around 5, 10, 20 years of your subject matter expertise and likely other people's subject matter expertise. It's like the quality of content should be higher in a book. Now that there are a lot of trash books out there, but assuming good books, assuming good publication, there's just like a lot of dense knowledge on a given subject in there. So sure, you could be a listener of audiobooks, but they're still audiobooks. They're not like audios.
I just had to ask because my argument with my friend was like, yeah, but the thing about reading, it's not absorbing the content. It's setting aside the time to read, which is the problem I have. It's like I could listen to a podcast or an audiobook while I do laundry and stuff, but sitting down and taking an hour to read a book, that's incredible discipline I'm trying to
I definitely
trying to get.
keep more of the book with me when I'm reading than when I'm listening to an
That's
audiobook.
very true. Yeah.
But I also never sit down and read a book. Like I run and I'll listen to audiobooks when I run, or if I'm flying or something like that.
Cheater. Okay.
Gotta make it topical.
Just kidding. Okay. Let's get into like your come up into being an entrepreneur, because you have a very interesting beginning story, a genesis. So take it away.
Sure. I mean, I always like to start by saying I was born a white dude in the US, so there's like a lot of privilege in that, but I can't control that part. So, I can only control that. I also can't control that I came from an entrepreneurial family. And so I was exposed to entrepreneurship at a young age, saw various success stories and also various family businesses, which is also a completely different podcast episode, not for travel nerds. But got exposed to it, but also wasn't able to really walk into family business and take any of them over. And my parents didn't succeed as business owners themselves. They do well today, but growing up, like I didn't have access to any of the family businesses, nor did I want to do any of them. So I was inspired, but also wanted to create my own path. And so started tinkering with ideas when I was 15, failed a bunch of projects when I was 15, 16. And like, I call them projects because like they were businesses, but we didn't even get off the ground. Like we didn't make $1. So they're not really businesses, looking back. But I was like in the game, reading some books and looking at articles online and like Forbes and Fortune and whatnot. Came across an article in Forbes about the most connected man you don't know in Silicon Valley, all about this guy, David Hassel, and reached out to him.
It's a tough name.
Yeah. Always get comments on that one. But he's a world-class guy, like just cold emailed him after reading this article, offered to work unpaid in exchange for his mentorship, and ended up working remotely for his company, which wasn't even public at the time. So I had no idea what it was, but turned out to be a company called 15Five, which today is one of the leading employee engagement and performance management softwares, near $1 billion valuation, like 250 employees, give or take. And I ended up being employee 7 in my teens at 15Five. And so that was
super cool.
That was just like reading a random article, sending a cold email, offering to work unpaid, doing some grunt marketing work and customer support tickets and all that. And turned out to be like right place at the right time. Also was working for one of the pioneering remote first companies. So not only did they teach me all about like some of the space we're in now around helping companies build better company cultures through offsites, but they were planning offsites that I got to attend when I was in my teens as an employee, back when like 3% of companies were remote or hybrid. And now it's like 70, 80% of companies. So that was kind of the startup space until 18. I left 15Five, ended up not going to college right away, and never went to college. Started working on my first book because I was in a community of young entrepreneurs that partly inspired me not to go to college, but also inspired me to study them and other successful millennials from all different walks of life. And so that's what became the book series that I wrote. It was just profiling sort of millennials from different paths and sharing their stories. And then that led to some TED and TEDx talks, that led to corporate keynotes, that led to facilitating and some consulting, and just sort of figured out how to stay alive in New York for 5 to 6 years.
That is honestly so amazing though. Like when I was 16, I was, hey, mistering outside a gas station for a 6-pack of Bud Light, and you were tinkering in entrepreneurship. Like that's amazing. I wish that's like a very cool story. And also I think all the time, if I didn't go to college, think of how many years of experience I could have that, that's inspiring to hear that, because for a while, I don't think we're still in that world where people think they need to, but for a while there, it was like a successful person goes to college. It's like, no, they have real life experience. They mature faster. They're, you're successful younger. It's just the truth. So it's super cool.
I have a question about being I have a question about being a teenager at a startup. All right. So you're talking about like 17, 18, 19 years old. And did you guys work in the office?
No, we were remote first.
Oh,
That helped a lot. And
Can you
then
imagine?
I did spend a summer in San Francisco co-working with about half the team when I was 17. But
was that weird? Because everyone's a little bit older, or they were in their 20s, right? I mean, 17, you're just a
20s,
kid.
30s, Burning Man types. It was like,
Is that right?
Yeah, super interesting. But they basically, two of the co-founders of 15Five basically like programmed me in my teens. And so like a lot of what I value in terms of being a manager, being an entrepreneur, leading people, like even relationship building, like comes from them. I never got like the Burning Man bug, like went as crazy as they did.
Sure.
But they both, like David and Shane Metcalf, who was the other co-founder, they both balance this really well. Like they go to Burning Man, they're in all these communities, they'll try everything, but like they're also like in a boardroom, like they're perfectly to the point, can hold space, can have difficult conversations, high candor, run a massive company. So it's a really interesting dichotomy. But the living in San Francisco part was basically my college experience, because I ended up living in a hacker house for the summer with 15 other people, like a 4-story mansion in San Francisco. It sounds glamorous, but like I was in a bunk bed with 3 bunk beds, so 6 people total in the same room, all sharing one bathroom. That was not great.
No.
That's
No.
so San Francisco, huh?
But we had amazing parties, and like it was. I mean, some of the people looking back are like founders themselves now, or they're like a chief of staff that worked at Resident, or like engineers at Google. Is like a really interesting hodgepodge people. And then I got to go into the city, like co-work with everyone. Went to a ton of like intern carnivals and parties with Facebook and Google and Apple, and like it was just sort of the Silicon Valley experience like rolled into one summer.
I know, San Francisco is so cool.
Craziest thing that you saw during your hacker house days?
That I could talk about. I mean, the craziest thing the craziest thing that almost happened to me is I almost got my head kicked off at like the Facebook or Meta intern carnival, because like there was a bunch going on, and then there was what do you call it, like a zip line. People were zip lining into the crowd. So
oh no,
I don't know if I was ever actually a danger, but I feel like I walked in the path of the zip line at one point while someone was going down, and it felt way too close that like someone almost just decapitated me.
Oh, that would have been just the most embarrassing way to die. I'm so happy you're okay.
I also saw like Mark Zuckerberg do an inflatable jousting match with either one of his interns or like someone that was at this carnival thing. So that was pretty interesting.
Can you imagine working at somewhere like that, like the Google campus and Facebook, like seeing these incredible headquarters? I can't even fathom.
I have a couple friends that have invited me to like go get lunch at Google's offices in the past, and Apple. And like, I mean, it is impressive, but also like being able to travel is impressive, and having a life is impressive.
So you saw Zuck joust an intern, whoever that was. So you got the firsthand. So if this thing ever happens between Zuck and Elon, who are you taking? And you got a unique perspective because you got to see Zuck joust before he was training, before he got kind of jacked. So Zuck versus Elon, who are you taking?
100% Mark Zuckerberg, but not because of his jousting abilities, but because of his Brazilian jiu-jitsu and MMA experience.
Oh, yes.
I recently got into Brazilian jiu-jitsu about a year ago, and
no way,
very hard. And apparently Zuckerberg's been doing it for 2-3 years. He's like won a couple tournaments, and he's been training with some of the top UFC fighters.
Was he black belt, purple belt?
No, I think he's still a white belt, but he has access to the best coaches in the world, and like he takes it seriously. Like you can just go on Instagram, like look at him shirtless, and he's like jacked. And
I have
Yeah.
never typed in Mark Zuckerberg shirtless, but you bet your ass.
Do it
after
right
this
now.
call.
Do it now, Connor.
Should I do it now? Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
Elon Musk has also been training with a couple of the like they both message the same coaches and the same athletes to train and to get inspiration. But I think Elon's doing it more as a joke and also has 40 companies that he's running, whereas Mark Zuckerberg has just one gigantic company he runs. And yeah, but also Mark Zuckerberg just got injured, so.
I know. I saw that. Okay, so I just, for shits and giggles,
It's terrifying.
We're losing people here.
No, it's okay. People want this. Trust me. People are going to love this. Okay, so I mean, in fighting, height and weight matter, right? That's why there's classes and all that stuff. All right.
Correct.
Oh Connor just pulled up Zuckerberg shirtless, and I can't even.
But this is people wearing Mark Zuckerberg. It was a shirtless Mark Zuckerberg running marathon. So it's all these scary pictures of people with Mark Zuckerberg masks on. But in his defense, incredible. Yes, he does have a good bod. I didn't see that coming. So thank you for making me aware.
Can I just run you guys through?
Mark Zuckerberg.
She loves the dead in the look eyes. Yeah, that's
the last jiu-jitsu story real quick. So the like Michael Jordan of jiu-jitsu is this guy Gordon Ryan. Same age as me, same height, so that's promising, and would be the same weight if I got shredded. And so weight and height does matter, but I'm never going to be the Michael Jordan of jiu-jitsu. Gordon Ryan is, but he hates Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Zuckerberg like messaged him saying like, "Hey, can we train together?" And he like put this on Instagram like Gordon Ryan did. He's like, I messaged him back, and I'm like, sure, I guess, but I hate you. I was like, this is a very interesting dynamic here.
I feel like Mark Zuckerberg's he's kind of a drama queen. No? I feel like he's always in some drama. He's starting.
He almost ran for president at one point. That was a rumor. That was hot gossip.
How do we feel about The Rock running for president? I just read an article the other day.
The Rock doesn't believe in anything.
I mean, he's visiting the Pentagon the day we're recording this, so maybe he announces before this goes live. I don't know. Like,
could you imagine that The Rock runs? I mean, honestly, in America, he would probably win because Americans are so fed up with like the status quo of politics that
he'd win, and then he'd make another like Ballers type show about it called like Presidents, and then like
in the White House, yeah.
And like he would be a badass in that too, and it would make lots of money.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. I mean, I just Googled the height and weight of Elon versus Zuck. It's actually like shocking. So Elon Musk is 6'2", 187 pounds, 52 years old, and worth $230.9 billion, which is insane. And then Zuckerberg is a short king, 5'7", 155 pounds. He's 39 years old, and he's worth only $112 billion.
So Elon's best chance is to learn how to throw a punch and to knock Zuckerberg out with a great punch before Zuckerberg takes him to the ground. And
once he's on the ground, if you're good at jiu-jitsu and you're down, you're done.
But the fight starts on the feet, so Elon, if you're listening to Travel Nerds, which
he's a huge fan. He's a huge fan.
We had him on last week.
We actually had him on. We didn't release the podcast because we talked about the Cybertruck so much that we're like we just got like obsessed, and I'm obsessed with it. I'm still on the waiting list. I've been putting off getting a second car for 2 years for this damn Cybertruck, and it is not coming out yet, and I don't have any sight line to when it's going to be in my garage, and this infuriates me.
See, if you did actually interview him, I feel like you'd know when it's coming out. So
I love
No.
when he did the thing where he was like showing the Cybertruck at an industry event, and he just took a baseball bat and he's like, these windows are the most bulletproof glass you can buy, and then just smashes the window in and it just shattered everywhere. And he was like, the way he handled it, like he's clearly a billionaire. He like his energy. The window shatters. This is being recorded. He knows it's going to go viral, and he was just like, "Fucking beta testing, am I right?" I was like, "That's the way to handle that." That was funny.
It's like, oh well.
Let's talk about Product Hunt. I would love to like get some pro tips from you, because Molly, our wonderful, lovely producer, has been in charge of our launch, and it's a lot more work than one would think. So kind of like tell us about your experience with launching on Product Hunt, and if you can give anybody any pro tips, that would be awesome.
If you don't know what Product Hunt is, I would check out producthunt.com. It is a discovery platform where you could find out about like cool startups and apps. And I believe there is a travel filter to that. So if you're just interested in travel, if you're just interested in like hospitality, like you can probably find cool things related to that, or whatever. There's like gaming and AI. But each day the clock starts again at 3 a.m. Pacific. Or no, it starts at 12:01 a.m. Pacific, which is 3 a.m. Eastern. So the day of the launch, I was up at like 2:45 a.m. Eastern, getting ready for it to go live. And it's a popularity contest, essentially, to see if you can get your product at the top of the list. And if you can get into the top 10, then you get into an email newsletter to like 500,000 people the next day. And there's a ton of traffic to the homepage throughout the day. So when we did our Product Hunt launch, it was by far the most traffic to our website in one day ever. The biggest number of signups in one day ever. Now, granted, like a lot of the people coming are looky-loos and like they're beta testers, you know, and TBD if it's going to become a good client or not, or user or not. But it is really interesting, like good energy. They're really big into cats on this platform. So pro tip is like if you could just use any like cats in your designs, or like I was like, head on over to Product Hunt right meow and check out offsite. And so like,
you know what's funny? Really I was wondering why you said that. I got that email.
Yeah.
Awesome. So well, did you have like a hunter? Like, did you have like a Product Hunt person mentoring you? Yeah.
So that's part of the platform as well. You basically upvote the things that you like. Not all upvotes are created equal. So while it is a popularity contest, like if the prom queen is upvoting you, then you're going to get like more weight on that than like a brand new Product Hunt user. And right. So there are sort of super users on the platform. And if you can get them to vote for you, then that works in your favor. And I think it like notifies all their followers that you just voted for them. So stuff like that. But then if you can get one of them to hunt you or basically like launch your promotion for the day, then that also helps you. And so we did have a hunter. I was hoping to have one of our investors do it, who is the founder of WordPress, but he was busy, being the benevolent king of the internet that day. And so ended up having like a former Product Hunt employee launch us. And he was really passionate about what we were doing. So it was very nice. And then, just like hit up everyone in my network to upvote us. But it really started like weeks before. We started sort of like trying to bank votes and like say, hey, like we're going to launch, like would love your support that day. You can't explicitly ask people for upvotes. That's like part of their guidelines as well. So you have to be like, can you support us? Can you check us out? Like you got to give everything but the upvote us. But I don't know. If you slide into the DMs, like no one's ever going to know. So
I get a lot of LinkedIn messages being like, please go like my product on launch. Ever
like,
since
subscribe,
I've been around
comment. So I mean, it's popularity contest. It sounds like you haven't done your Product Hunt yet, but will be doing it soon.
Yeah.
I would say don't put a lot of stock into getting number one. Like just like you can only control the inputs. So definitely spend some time on it. Do try and get into the top 5, top 10. I think for anyone with like a decent plan, that's totally doable.
Yeah.
But to get like number one for the day, you're probably gonna have to be an AI company right now. And like even if you're an AI company, like one of the bigger tech companies may launch something that day, and you're just screwed. Like if OpenAI wants to put something out that day, you're probably going to lose. Or like Remote came out with a launch yesterday at time of recording, and I mean they're a massive tech company with thousands of employees and lots of followers, and so you're probably just not going to beat Remote on the day that they're doing it. So
Yeah.
we were competing with like 3 different AI companies, and then some sort of like ride sharing company, and yeah,
I'm
I think
so
we got sick
of hearing about
we were top 5
AI.
most of the day.
Aren't you just like bored of hearing about AI all the time?
I want all of our competitors to go build AI products and waste their time, and then when like a year from now when it's more mature, then like we'll figure out our AI strategy. But that's how I feel. I think a lot of people are. I don't know. Like I do love it. But also stay focused maybe and do whatever you're best at.
I actually love when companies use AI as like a hype, and they're like, yeah, we're AI powered. And it's like, you need AI to do what? Like, so a good example is there is really no reason for you to use AI in like travel search, right? But I've seen a few that are like, hey, we use our travel search is AI powered. And I'm like, really? So where does the AI come in, right? Because when you make a travel search, for those of you just listening in the audience, it's kind of boring, right? Like you connect to some other kind of database, you send a request like, hey, send me the top 200 flight results to JFK. Really, that piece of software does most of the sorting for you. And then you basically weight it, and then you show the flight or the hotel or the car. There is no AI needed for that in any respect. But I'd be more well off than I am now if I've had a few dollars for everyone who was like, oh, we're AI powered this, AI powered. And our developers are like, you don't need AI for any of that. So a lot of it is like kind of fake.
This is an algorithm.
Fake, yeah.
It's like
It's just marketing.
There's no
engineers are working on for the last 30 years is building software. Like that's not AI. I mean, like
It's
there's a lot of that
totally
going on.
Branding and marketing. And also people don't talk about, we know from, using it all the time and doing our due diligence for a little keynote speech Kenny and I did, but AI also hallucinates and lies and no one ever talks about it. It's like you're thinking that of course the information.
Your podcast episodes talking about AI are probably one of the some of the most popular. I don't know if we called ourselves Offsite.ai, like we'd probably like go raise a Series C right now.
Right. So crazy.
And then I could be a billionaire like, Elon and Zuck and
jujitsu them in the Coliseum.
Yeah. I could fight.
Imagine it's like a three-way cage match. Just
you,
Zuck and Elon.
Let's get all the billionaires together in a cage and fight to the death.
I would love to.
And you guys, that would be sick.
And Warren Buffett in there. Come on.
Yeah. And like to like get into the fight, you have to put up one of your companies. So like Zuck has to put up what he probably doesn't really care for like WhatsApp, right? So he puts up WhatsApp. Elon puts up what? Neuralink, SpaceX, and then Buffett has to put up Geico, right? Like Geico, it's all like, is that still a thing? But you guys all throw up a company and basically fight to the death, and whoever wins, it's just cover. Yeah, it's like so. Yeah, so Offsite has to get. Elon could be owning Offsite, but you would train pretty hard if you could take over WhatsApp or SpaceX. I mean, I feel like my money's on you, no?
I'm pretty sure there was a show called Celebrity Deathmatch that was kind of the cartoon version.
Is that right?
Oh my god, I haven't thought about that in
there wasn't like
years.
There hasn't been a business celebrity deathmatch, but maybe we can go make that happen. Who do we talk to get business celebrity deathmatch created?
Isn't it funny though that I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you wouldn't have really thought about, they were there doing amazing things. They weren't really celebrities. It's like tech has become that. It didn't used to be that at all. They wouldn't have been considered on Celebrity Deathmatch ever. And now that would be the top two people everyone would want to see. So that's definitely a cool thing to think about too. Also, you mentioned Neuralink, Kenny. Like, why don't more people talk about Neuralink? Neurotechnology company that's putting in implantable brain computers. Why don't we talk about this more?
Here's my theory. I feel like that there's so many things that are good in the news and so much interesting stuff, and nothing gets covered unless it makes you sad, depressed, or scared. So as long as there's a war or some kind of like social strife, none of the cool stuff gets covered. That's why I really love the All In podcast. And I love, not to plug another pod, not like they need it to, but the All In pod has this thing called Science Corner. And it is like the thing I look forward to the most, because they talk about cool stuff that has an impact on your life. And like, so much of what's on the news is just designed to scare you and distract you. And so I agree. I want more news that is not about politics. I want more news that is about like cool stuff, like, you know, Offsite and what Jared is, and like more like it would be cool if like more people knew Jared's story and he didn't have to come on a podcast. And like, it's a cool story, but there's no place for it in traditional media because it's not designed to scare you. Like, you're not going to hear Jared's story and be like frightened or upset. So you never
just
hear
inspired,
it on the news,
dude.
right? Just
I mean,
inspired.
you're not
right?
frightened because I'm not legally able to share the most frightening parts of my story.
I was Googling and I saw that you wrote one of your books with another chick. Are you still in touch with her? And what was the process? Yeah. What was the process of writing with somebody?
Stacy's a great friend. I was at her wedding this year. Her name's Stacy Ferreira is who we're referencing. She's a serial entrepreneur, and she's a few years older than me. We met through the Thiel Fellowship. Let's talk about another billionaire who could be in that in that death match. Peter Thiel, who's the co-founder of PayPal. One of his things that people hate him for or love him for is this program called the Thiel Fellowship, where he was paying kids to drop out of college and build companies instead, going back to the whole college thing. So they basically inspired me not to go to college. But I was never a Thiel Fellow. Stacy was, so she got this no strings attached grant. But I was in this community of Thiel Fellows and then some of like the finalists and semifinalists who applied. And it was a community that I joined when I was 17. And it was some of the smartest people I'd ever met in my entire life. And still to this day are some of just like the highest motor individuals you'll ever meet. And, you know, Stacy was one of these people that I met at a conference hosted by the foundation. And we just hit it off, and we decided to work on this book together. Because again, we sort of looked around the people in the room and we're like, oh my God, holy shit, these people are so smart and their stories deserve to be heard. And so we kind of took some of the stories from the people in the room that maybe you didn't know about, like kids building nuclear reactors in their garage and like curing cancer and building companies. And then we found a couple people like Jake Paul, and like put them in there to like get the fame and the attention, you know, or like some Olympians. We could be like, we have Olympians, but we really want to like feed you like, you know, these other stories. And so that was what the book series was. But yeah, Stacy's amazing. She had sold her first company at 18, sold her first company at 20, which Richard Branson invested in. Another billionaire, but we got to keep Richard safe. You know,
protect Richard at all costs.
Yeah, we can use his island for the business celebrity death match, but you know,
that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I've also never met him, but he was an investor in Stacy's first company. They her and her brother and a third co-founder sold it, and then she started another company, sold it. Now she's working at Ford on their electric vehicles.
What? Cool. That's a cool job.
Cool.
She will 100% start another company at some point. I will invest in it before I know the name of the company. Like I will just be like, here's a blank check, you know, do with it how you please. And she's a small investor in Offsite, thankfully. But yeah, like working with a partner or a co-author, you know, was a great experience. I only have one co-authorship experience, and it was a great one. You know, if you find someone that you enjoy working with who is brilliant. It's sort of like a 1 + 1 = 11 sort of thing. And that's kind of the best partnership. So shout out to Stacy. And
that's cool. Okay, question. Question: if somebody, say Richard Branson, comes in, he offers you a pretty good sum of money, he buys offsite, right? And you have to take over one other company and run that company. Which one would you choose?
Nice.
I mean, do you want a fun answer or like an actual answer?
I'll take both.
Do the fun one first. I'm not ready for the real one.
I'm not ready for either. Let's all fly, obviously. Like I want to take.
No.
That's cheating.
Not for sale.
No, fun one.
We put him on the spot. I didn't mean to.
I'd probably find like one of my friends that runs like a great lifestyle business and take that one over and be retired for a couple of years, but still have like great income coming in. Like I have another friend, Connor, who lives in Lisbon, also just got married. And Connor has a company called Baselang, which helps you with to learn Spanish. And so they offer unlimited Spanish tutoring for a low monthly rate. And it works, and they have thousands and thousands of users. And it is just a machine of a company. Like they're not trying to be Duolingo. They're not trying to grow a venture-backed startup like we are. They just have a really fucking nice business that helps lots of people. They make lots of money. And Connor is bored. Connor is essentially retired in his late 20s and doesn't know what to do with his life. Although he just got married, so he figured that part out on the family front. He has some cool hobbies now. But like, I'll take over Baselang because it just runs itself. So,
that's
cool. Or something like that, at least for a couple of years before I want to start my own thing again. As far as what I'd actually do, I would probably try and find a distressed business and buy it for pennies on the dollar and then turn it around.
That's cool.
So it would take some time to figure out a business that is distressed enough where it's pennies on the dollar, but I think I could turn it around. So I'd have to do some digging, but I would like go to sites like acquire.com or just like, I don't know, go check out some VCs in their portfolios and see which ones are just zombie companies. But I'd have to sell offsite first and then have cash and then do that.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Branson came, he gave you like 200 mil, you got a little cash. So, you could go on a little shopping spree.
Actually, the baller answer would be just like, because I love my company so much, is I would just like run the company that acquired the company,
that would be cool.
Yeah. Like I'd run like Richard Branson's like family trust, or I'd run a Virgin,
What's your answer,
Connor,
Kenny?
do you have one?
What was the question again?
If you can take over and be the boss of any company, which one would you choose?
I'll fly. No.
That's cool.
She don't want that noise.
That noise. Oh gosh, that's hard. Probably. I really love fitness. Maybe something relating to like, you know what I believe in? Core power yoga. I love that
Core
shit.
power yoga.
It's like such a profitable brand. There's franchises everywhere. It's just like a simple business model. Core power yoga.
I want to revise my answer. I want to take over the UFC so I can make the Zuckerberg and Musk fight happen.
There you go.
That would be cool too.
Actually, I would take over.
I know Dana White's trying really hard, but I would try.
I would take over Axe Capital.
Yeah.
She's watching Billions.
Yes.
I will.
That's my favorite show in the world. I'm very sad.
I'm on season 2. Actually, no. I just got to season 3 last night. So what happened was the whole time for 3 weeks, you think that Chuck Rhodes is getting his ass beat by Bobby in this ice juice stock. But actually, it rolls back the tape and Chuck is like manipulating Bobby in every turn. And then when it actually rolls back in the episode, he's like shown from the back, like like crying. And so you're like, oh my God, he's defeated. And then you realize he's hysterically laughing. I thought that ending to a season was chef's kiss. It was amazing.
All right. So speaking of endings, now we have to be careful here because she's on season 3.
Ruin
but
this.
I've watched.
Do not.
We're not going to ruin it. We're not going to ruin it. But I am obsessed with talking about the endings of shows, and you've seen the ending of Billions, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to take my headphones off
real
quick?
I won't spoil it for you, but that type of ending to a season happens again.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Okay,
all
right. I'm taking these off for 3 seconds. You guys can chat.
No, you're fine. So, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rank the ending of Billions series finale?
Probably a 9. Like I
9.
thought they did a really good job of bringing all the characters back. I was sad when it ended because I wanted more of this. They did kind of they could do more, but I think they're sort of ending up on top, and it was inspiring.
It was very good. Yeah, it was so good. I actually give it a 10. Actually, you know what? I'm just a little bit, I say 9.5 because there's one relationship that I wish would have ended differently. And it's probably the one that you're like shaking your head. I guess we could say it without ruining it for Connor, but I wish
Wendy Rhodes is like my fictional like TV movie crush, I guess.
Yeah, I wish
Rhodes?
that Wendy and Axe.
Yeah.
Really?
Why not?
I don't know. That's surprising. Interesting. Thank you for coming on. Is there anything else like upcoming that you want to tell us about or that we didn't cover that you want to go over?
Not really. I mean, we're hopefully by the time this goes live, if you wanted to use Allfly, you can find them through the offsite platform. So like, just to plug what we do, we have a platform where if you're a meeting planner, if you're at a startup and planning an offsite or team retreat, you could log in, make a free account, find your offsite venues, sort of like Airbnb, and then book through us, save 20% or more on your room blocks, your meeting space, food and beverage, things like that. But then we're adding different categories to the marketplace. And so speakers and facilitators are one of those categories. Travel partners that we've worked with Allfly a lot, sent them quite a few clients, but now people can just like go in the platform and book you guys through the platform, which is exciting. And then we're doing that with event production staff and other categories as we go along.
All right. Later, nerds.